Hi everyone, I'm Sophia. Thanks for being here. Typically we do Friday meditations at 2 p.m., but today we had to move it up for one hour. Next week though, we'll be having our meditation at 2 p.m. unless for some reason something happens in my schedule, but doubtful. I'm going to launch and share my screen here so we can go over some of the basics. Last week we did mantra meditation, and this week it's going to be focused meditation. I know you're probably wondering, what in the heck is that? So let's share my screen so you can see. So this week is focused meditation. And the idea behind focused meditation is that you're fixing your attention on a single person, place, item, or even situation. Now that sounds like a lot, and it is. So that means that you can literally use almost anything. During focused meditation, you're actually employing your mind's eye, your imagination, so that you can see exactly what it is you're focusing on. Now, when I say see, I mean in great detail. So if you happen to choose a person, maybe your mother or something, then you really want to focus on every single detail of that person's face, how they sound, how they speak, what they look like when they're walking, all the little finite details that make up who that person is, so that you can fully visualize them almost to the point that they're there with you. That's a great practice to do, especially if you're missing someone or if someone has passed away and you really want to honor them. I know that during these times, we're actually dealing with a lot of stuff like that. So especially during quarantine, when we're all very far away from each other, in order to feel more connected, you can always do focused meditation on your loved ones. So also I mentioned the place. So it could be your favorite country or a place in nature. It could also be an item, such as maybe the Holy Cross if you're Christian, or a holy text such as the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or any of the Buddha's scriptures. Also, I have here a recommendation for focused meditation is a situation, and that's actually wonderful if you're trying to accomplish something. So if you have big goals in your life and you really want to accomplish them, focused meditation on that situation can be very helpful. Okay, let's keep going here. Now, you know me, I love to include some scientific data regarding the meditation practices. So let's go over some of that together. Studies have shown that practicing focused attention meditation improves cognitive performance. This type of meditation activates the anterior cingulate cortex, the ACC, and increases your heart rate variability, which allow for two things: better problem solving and stress management. So for those of you who may not know, like I didn't before I started researching this, the ACC controls self-regulation and error detection. So studies have shown that when people are actually constantly and on a regular basis activating or practicing the meditative methods, they actually perform better on tests and can find errors a lot faster. And the self-correction, that's actually really helpful. It's sort of the effect that you get when you're meditating and your mind starts to wander, and then you sort of kind of bring yourself back to center. That's that self-correction that I'm talking about. And the more that we try to self-correct, the better we can manage stress, anxiety, emotions, distress, all that stuff. The heart rate variability, of course, is really wonderful because studies have shown that when you increase the HRV, you have way better stress management. So when shit hits the fan, you can keep it together, which for me, I don't know about you guys, but is very difficult. So I find that meditation not only helps me solve problems, but helps me kind of get myself back together when I'm falling apart. Okay. So some examples of focused meditation. I mentioned earlier people, place, things, and situations. Here's a few more specific examples you can use. an image of a guru, a deity, or ancestor. So depending on your religion, one of these may speak to you. So for me, I like to gaze upon Buddha, or if you're Christian, you may want to gaze upon Jesus Christ. Or if you're one of the many Asian cultures that have pictures of their ancestors, you may want to gaze upon a beloved ancestor while you're doing your focused meditation. I mentioned places and situations. So future dreams or desires, like I mentioned before, that can be extremely beneficial to your success. So even if it's something as simple as trying to master a skill, you want to visualize yourself doing that with every single finite detail you can come up with. That's essentially manifesting the future, right? I always like to remind people, one of my favorite books is Creative Visualization by, I think her name's Shakti Gawain or something like that. I have the book around here somewhere, actually. Oh, here it is. So this is a wonderful book, folks, where she actually can you see that? Creative Visualization, Shakti Gawain. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce that. But this is a wonderful, wonderful book for this sort of meditation that I'm referring to today. She describes thoughts as blueprints. They're just the infrastructure for our reality. And the more you can employ them for your desires and for your preferences, the more that you can control your future and truly see the power of manifestation at work. If you have any questions about that, let me know. This is a wonderful book. But moving on, Tritaka. Tritaka is another wonderful focused meditation practice you guys can try, and I highly recommend Tritaka. Tritaka is meditation by focusing on a candle flame. And the idea with Tritaka is that you gaze into the candle flame for, I don't know, you can start off for about a minute, work your way up to maybe 5 minutes, maybe even more than that, depending on how you're feeling. And your eyes will definitely water because you're staring into a light, right? A bright light, depending on how big your candle is. So while you're gazing into the candle flame, your eyes will water, and eventually you're going to want to close them and give your eyes a rest. It'll just happen naturally. And at that time, when you close your eyes, you'll continue seeing the flame from behind the eyes. And what that'll do is it'll represent the inner flame of yourself, within yourself. That inner prana that I spoke about in my pranayama practice. So prana, in case you guys weren't there with me, prana is the inner energy flow. It's the energy that was given to us by the sacred universe. And it flows through us and it animates who we are. And our inner flame, which will reside in our solar plexus and root and sacral chakra, that inner flame is represented by the candle flame during Tritaka practice. So while you're gazing into the candle flame and then closing your eyes, focusing on that inner flame, it's a wonderful, powerful practice for self-love, self-care, and also just a gentle reminder that you yourself are quite powerful as well. Okay, moving on, a few other examples of focused meditation that you guys could try is a peaceful scene. Now, peaceful, of course, is relative. Everyone has their own different idea of what peaceful is. So maybe you have to draw it out. Maybe you have to take some notes before you do that. Or maybe you just let yourself go with wherever your mind takes you. Peaceful scenes can range from the beach, can be, in the mountains, on a hammock somewhere in another country, or even with other people. So maybe you're at a party with other loved ones, and that to you gave you peace. So find whatever peaceful scene works for you and see how long you can stay there. Walk through the environment using all 5 senses, kind of like how we did during the mindfulness practice. What can you smell? What can you feel? What can you hear in that peaceful scene? Maybe you're in a forest. and you hear the babbling river. You can smell the trees and the grass. You can hear birds singing, and you can feel the whoosh of the wind flowing through your hair. So the more that you can employ your 5 senses, the better your meditation practice will be, and the easier it will become to get into that meditative state. Okay, moving on. I also mentioned before that you can focus on a loved one. So maybe, unfortunately, someone passed away, such as a grandparent, and you want to feel more in touch with them. Focused meditation is a great way to do that. You can either put up a photo of them, or just use your imagination to visualize them as best you can. I highly recommend even taking a moment to try to have a conversation with that loved one during your meditation practice. It can not only be extremely helpful during the grieving process, but can also help you just feel more at one with yourself and the universe. Because again, we're all one, and our loved ones are always with us. So it's very easy to access them no matter where they are. Okay, moving on. Also, chakras. Now, I don't go too much into it this time, but we definitely will have a chakra meditation coming up in the next couple of weeks or so. But if you're familiar with chakras, these are the energies within your body, the discs that run from the base of the spine all the way up to the crown of your head. And these energy centers control different constitutions and different concepts of our bodies and ourselves. So if you tend to have some issues with opening up to loved ones, or opening up to yourself, or loving others, or being vulnerable, you may want to work on your heart chakra. If you feel as though your creativity is lacking, you haven't been feeling very inspired lately, then you probably ought to be working on your sacral chakra. If you feel as though disconnected from the universe and the spirituality thing is kind of silly to you, it sounds like you may need to start working on the third eye or even the crown chakra. And if you feel very insecure and scared, like a lot of us may be feeling that these days, and feeling a little lost, that's your root chakra. And if you have problems trying to articulate and sharing things, maybe you're holding on to a lot of your emotions and you're not sharing them with others, that can actually be a throat chakra blockage as well. Now, a lot of this stuff kind of overlaps, of course. So if any of that spoke to you, you may want to do a little bit of research into that particular chakra and actually do focused meditation on that chakra. My last recommendation or example for focused meditation is color. Now, this kind of coincides with the chakras because we have different colors for each of our chakras. So for example, if you're having insecurity problems, like you feel very unsafe a lot of the time, your root chakra may be blocked, and you're going to want to focus on the color red. If you need more inspiration and creativity, that's going to be yellow, your solar plexus. I skipped sacral. Sacral chakra will be orange. The sacral chakra is actually wonderful for passion, sexuality, sensuality, not just with others, but with yourself as well. If you're focusing on your heart chakra, the color would be green. So you can focus on the color green during your focused meditation. And then throat chakra, we have light blue, like a sky blue. We have the third eye chakra, which is more like an indigo blue. Indigo blue is like a purple and a blue put together. And then for the crown chakra, we want a lavender or even like a bright white. So you can focus on individual colors when trying to unblock your chakra, a particular chakra as well. Okay, wonderful. Those are all my examples so far. And many of you know that I like to include this in my classes, and some of you may have done this already, and that's okay. But if you haven't, here's another chance to do it. I want you guys to create a plan for yourselves. How many days can you commit to meditating? how long will you meditate? And how will you track your progress? Like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this recording and this class, I want you to just keep an open mind as much as possible. So even if you have to be very honest and admit, I can't do it, I can only do it for like 1 minute once a month. Yes, that's still amazing. That's more than zero, right? So just try your best to be honest with yourself and don't make outrageous goals. Start off small, baby steps, and then work your way up to something that's maybe a daily routine or a weekly routine. As long as you're giving it a little bit of effort, that in of itself is incredible. And your body, mind, and soul will definitely benefit from that. Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and I'm gonna go ahead and set up a timer so we can actually do some meditation together. And I'm going to check the time real quick. Oh, perfect. So we have exactly about 5 minutes together. So since this week is all about focused meditation, I want you guys to choose whatever you prefer. You can focus on any of the things that I talked about, some dreams, some loved ones, a chakra, a color, a peaceful scene, whichever of those just kind of jumped out on you, at you and really spoke to you. Maybe there's like a little tickle in your heart or your brain when I said it. That may be what you want to focus on today. Or maybe you want to challenge yourself and try something brand spanking new that you've never tried before. Maybe you want to try the chakra colors that I spoke of. Or maybe you want to go back from last week and try focusing on a mantra. Whatever you prefer is totally cool. I'm going to leave it open-ended and completely up to you. So let's set 5 minutes on the clock for ourselves. And I want you guys to sit in a very comfortable position. Make sure each of your sit bones are evenly pressed into your seat. Not too much weight shifted to the right and not too much to the left. I want you to sit back if you have a back. If not, just keep your back up straight. If you want, you can also add a little bit of a support with a pillow underneath your bottom or in your lower back to keep yourself propped up. If you're sitting on the floor, sometimes it's also helpful to put a couple of pads under your knees, maybe like a folded up blanket or some kind. I know that when I first started meditating, my legs would go numb and it was kind of weird. And I was like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. It's not wrong. Your body just needs a little bit of time to acclimate to this position. And as you practice, it'll become easier. In fact, I started meditating lying down. I was like, I don't want to sit up. I'm tired. I'm going to do it lying down. And that's okay too. If you feel like lying down is better for you, that's fine as well. Okay. So sit back, folks. Relax the shoulders. You may feel like gently closing the eyes. And if not, you can always let your vision blur by half closing your eyes and kind of like staring off at a single point in space. And I'm going to put 5 minutes on our timer here. And I want you to just take a couple of breaths here together. Inhale deeply through the nose. And then exhale deeply through the nose. One more time together. Inhale deeply through the nose. And exhale deeply through the nose. Now continue breathing at your own pace, letting your stomach or your chest rise and fall with each breath. Maybe do a quick body scan from head to toe. Is there any tension left in the muscles of the jaw or the eyebrows? Is there any tension in the shoulders or the back? If you notice something, Just breathe into it. And on your next inhale and exhale, gently bring to your mind's eye whatever you prefer to focus on for today. I want you to feel it. I want you to touch it. I want you to smell it. I want you to see it in all of its pure glory, whatever it may be. And when you have your person, place, or thing in your mind, just stay with it as long as possible, continuing to breathe gently through the nose. And if the mind wanders, just laugh about that and bring it gently back to whatever you're focusing on. May all beings everywhere benefit from our practice today. May all be happy, may all be healthy, and let no one suffer. Ah. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Whenever you're ready, you can gently flutter your eyes back open. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Notice how you feel. Maybe say a little thank you to yourself for being here today. A thank you to the entity, the person, the place, or the thing that you were focusing on. And if that didn't work for you today, that's okay. You can try again with another person, place, or thing next time. Or even try the Tritaka, the candle flame gaze, which was surprisingly powerful for me when I was doing it. Obviously, it's better in a dark room, so you may want to put aside some time to do it maybe before bed, or even just Google Tritaka and get some more information about it. It's one of my favorite practices. So I encourage you guys to stay in this state as long as possible. You may even continue meditating, or just even taking a nap, or just going about your day in that same state that you're in right now, focusing on the present moment, being calm, being centered. And I want to thank you guys so much for coming with me today on this journey. I know it may be a little different for some of us, or maybe it was very familiar to a lot of you, which is great as well. So I'm going to set up a new presentation since that was the last of this series, and I'll be posting that up for next week on Friday. I believe we'll do 2 p.m., but in case I change the time, I'll let you guys know. But I hope you enjoyed that, and thank you so much for coming. Yay! And I'm gonna pause this recording so I could chat with you all. All right, everyone, take care. Bye.